I'm Dana, and I always like to push how great special interests are for autistic people. I think that they're a great way for us to self-soothe. I think it's probably like the number one way of bringing myself autistic joy. I think it's a great thing to immerse yourself in. I think special interests are really quite vital and important to a lot of autistic people, and I love them. I love my special interests. They bring me a lot of joy and happiness and safety. You know, it's a great escapism. However, sometimes for me, I get those special interests where I'm like, not this. You know, those special interests where you're just like, I don't want to be interested in this. This is weird and it's out there and I'm kind of scared. And yet you're obsessed, you can't stop, you can't get out of it, it's a special interest, you know? So I thought I'd do a little fun video talking about my special interests I never wanted. And I really hope someone can relate. I really hope this isn't just me that gets these. I desperately hope it's other people too. So, to give you a full idea of what you're getting yourself into, I'm going to start with the worst one, which is also one of the earliest ones, and that's cannibalism. Okay, it might not sound better once I've given you context, but I think it sounds worse without context. So, imagine little, 10-year-old me. I think I might have been slightly younger, but I was around there. And I've watched Torchwood. Now, I went very out of my way to watch Torchwood because my parents were like, no, that's for adults. It will scar you. You're not watching it. And it turns out they were exactly right, because season 1, episode 6, Countryside, fucked me up for life. Spoilers for anyone that hasn't watched Torchwood and wanted to. Episode 6, they get called out into the countryside because people keep disappearing, and it's freaky as shit. It's such a scary episode. They full on make it look like it's gonna be aliens, and then it's not. It's cannibals. There's a scene where Tosh and Yantel open a fridge and it's just filled with like feet and arms and shit. It's so gross. And there's, you know, it's a whole thing. They're fucking cannibals out in the Welsh countryside. And then at the end, they're like, Gwen's like interviewing one of them and she's like, just tell me why you did it. And he leans over to her and it's so creepy. And he's just like, because it made me happy. It's the worst thing. It's the fucking worst thing ever. But it just started this whole thing where I suddenly realised as quite a young child, like, you can eat people. People are made of meat, you know? Like, I'm not saying this is something we don't think about enough, because I don't like thinking about it, but people are meat and we could, any of us could realistically be eaten, okay? Like, I don't want us to be. I'm vegan. I don't want to eat a person. My special interest with cannibalism is that I want it to stop. That's what it is. It fascinates me because it's so difficult. Like, I can't even eat a fucking cow. Like, I can't even eat a normal cheeseburger because I'm thinking like, oh my god, poor like Susie the cow had to die for this. She probably had like cow friends and a cow mummy and daddy and cow dreams. Like, she was out there. There's fuckers eating people, real ass, full ass human people who definitely did have friends and families and hopes and dreams. It's wild, it's insane, and I'm also like, do you get powers? Like, people are a lot, like, we're a lot, you know, there's 100,000 thoughts in our heads all the time, and we've done things and experienced things. Something's got to come from eating one of us, right? But it's one of those things I tried to just sort of push down and suppress because it's really fucking weird and I don't want to have a special interest in cannibalism. And then I found Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal Lecter and like the show Hannibal, and I love me some cannibalism. Next one is autism. I've got a whole YouTube channel where I talk about autism. I constantly watch TikToks about autism. I constantly watch other people's videos about autism. I watch documentaries about autism. It's, you know, I don't think it's as bad as cannibalism because it's one of those things where I've learned a lot about myself through this. I've learned a lot about myself by learning about other autistic people and what is autism. And I, you know, like from what some of you guys have commented, I've finger crossed helped out some other people by doing all this research and then making my little videos because it's like a special little interest and I essentially get to info dump. But if you gave me the choice, I'd much rather have a more interesting special interest. You know, like, hi, I'm Dana and I'm massively interested in my own neurotype. It's lame. I don't want to say any of them are lame, because if someone else told me this was their special interest, I'd just be like, oh, right, cool. You know, like, all good, no judgment. But for me, I'm like, yo, you're so fucking lame, you're such a loser. Who is fucking hyperfixated on their own neurotype? Just reading like fucking like articles written by professors that don't understand autism as well as I already do just because I'm autistic. It's not fun, but I keep doing it. One that I know other people have is fucking World War II and the Holocaust. I'm not going to laugh through this because I'm uncomfortable. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable, and I'm not going to laugh while talking about the Holocaust. But it's one of those things that we spent quite a long time on in history during high school, and it just fascinates me. It just absolutely fascinates me, because I'm just like, yo, what the fuck, you know? Like, I'm not going to pretend I'm the most knowledgeable person, but I've read a good bit, and I've watched a lot of documentaries, and, you know, it's something that I do find very interesting, because it just, you know, so many steps happened in order to get to, like, the horrific place that it ended up, and no one did anything or stopped any of it, and it just, you know, like, I think understanding history helps us understand what can happen now and what can happen in the future. And I think that was a really pivotal time of human history. It's just incredibly fucked up. It's, you know, as someone who's very disconnected from it, it's very difficult to, like, fully fathom that actually happened. Notice how I was going to say it's hard to believe, but I remember the people that don't believe in it. Like, I knew a guy that thought they just had tuberculosis. And I think that's part of why it's a special interest as well, is because it's like, there's so much misinformation and people who want to deny that it ever happened. And as, like, an autistic person with a strong sense of justice and very black and white thinking, it's very obvious to me it did happen, and it was absolutely horrific, and it's important to know the real genuine details and not make shit up and pretend it was fucking tuberculosis and not human cruelty that created a genocide. That was a bit much. I'm sorry, I got a bit into that. And I also want to point out, I know it's a very westernized view. Like, I know that, like, horrific things have happened all over the world on probably, like, a relatively similar scale. I'm not the most educated bitch, I don't know that much. I just have a special interest in World War II and Hitler that I really don't want, but it's there. To lift the mood back up a little, ballet. I've had a special interest in ballet since I was very young. I really wanted to do ballet, and my parents were cunts about my weight, essentially, and they wouldn't let a little girl do fucking ballet just because she was fat. So I got put into street dance lessons that I never fucking wanted to do and was horrific at. I wanted to do fucking ballet. I don't want to say I love ballet, because I've never watched a full fucking show. I love the culture of ballet, I think. I spent a long time in my teen years watching girls do, like, the what's in my ballet bag videos, how I do my point shoes before a show, trying on point shoes for the first time, all that stuff, or, like, the dance culture community side of things. I was obsessed, and I still kind of am. I recently watched the Dance Academy movie, because I watched the show years ago, and then I found out there's a movie, and then I found out that Miranda Otto's in it, so I had to watch it. And it just reminded me how much I fucking love, like, I don't know, like, as an outsider, it seems that the ballet community is really quite bizarre in the way that they're both supporting each other quite a lot while competing against each other. Like, to someone that's completely outside of that type of environment, I just find it really fascinating that they're able to actually be nice to each other while competing against each other, while also having to work together in, like, the core teams and dance ensembles and shit. You know, like, one fucker fucks up and you're all gonna fuck up, so all of a sudden the bitch that you were competing for the main role, you've got to work with her now and be nice and sort your point shoes and have all these blisters, you know. It just seems like an art form that people really quite suffer for, and I'm quite impressed by it. And I'm at an age and fitness level where I can't imagine many worse fucking things than a ballet lesson. I would hate it. But I think little girl me would have really liked it. And I think teenage me watching all those videos kind of latched in on the special interest, because I was like, this is what I could have been. If only my parents had put me into those lessons, I would have been the prima ballerina, man. And which also wasn't going to fucking happen, but you know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I think if I got to try it as a kid, I would have very quickly realised I was bored of it and just not cared ever again. But because I didn't get to try it, it's one of those things my brain just pulls out every now and again. It's like, remember how interesting that was? Do you? And I'm like, no, not again, please. And my brain's just like, but it's so interesting. And then it becomes a special interest again for a few weeks. Fun times. Now, my most recent one that I really just didn't fucking want is caving, which already isn't great because I'm claustrophobic and I don't like the idea of being underground and I don't like the dark very much and I'm very scared of like rocks falling on me or anything like that. I'm very scared of getting stuck there is no chance that you would get me to go caving. As a very young child, I lived in a village that had originally been a coal mining village until it was like fucked up by Maggie Thatcher. And we had a lot of mines and they did a whole thing when I was in Brownies where we went down into the mines and I was buzzing for it. I thought it was going to be like fucking Lord of the Rings. I thought there were going to be dwarves in this place. Very quickly realised it was a boring, dirty, cold, dark coal mine. Wasn't into it. And then they were like, oh my god, we're going to turn off our torches and it'll be pitch black. And it was pitch black and I was terrified. And I never, ever, ever want to do anything like that again. Like, I did go in one single cave that I remember as a kid. I believe in Buxton, somewhere like that. And it was a very big open cave that you didn't go very far down into, and that was all right. I would not do like the actual caving that you see people doing where you need like ropes and shit. It's horrifying. But beyond that, my main special interest in this area has been caving fucking disasters, and it's horrible. I think it's because it's already something that like scares the bejeebus out of me. I really don't fucking like it. So it already horrifies me. And then I'm like, so this person chose to do this thing that looks absolutely horrible, that has 1,000,001 things that could go wrong while you're down there and trapped underground, and they just went ahead with it anyway, and now they are trapped underground. Oh, great. It's horrifying. I'm really sorry you're in that position. It's exactly what I expected to happen. You know, like every fucking accident, disaster, death, all of them are so fucking different that I'm just like, I would have been expecting like this other thing and then that would have happened to me and I would have died horribly in a fucking cave. It's the worst. I do not enjoy it. I do not like it. I keep watching these like half-hour YouTube documentaries about horrible caving disasters. I'm going to round this off with a jokey one, which is Philip Glenister. Like I'm a lesbian. I live in Liverpool and I just hyperfixate on this weird southern bloke. This middle-aged, I think he's definitely old enough to be my dad. He was like middle-aged in a TV show I watched in 2006 when I was like 9 years old. I don't know what it is. I shouldn't care about him. And yet I've watched almost everything he's ever done and I think he's absolutely brilliant and fantastic. And he's got the prettiest eyes. That's the thing. I know, like, I can look at him and be like, oh, he's not that attractive. He's just some middle-aged bloke. But my brain on the other side of things is like, yeah, but he's Philip Glenister and he's perfect and beautiful and amazing and I love him. I love him. I don't like him with a southern accent very much though. I grew up thinking that he was from Manchester and I was honestly heartbroken to find out that he's southern. It was horrible. It was a horrible realisation. No, he's not my type of guy because he's a guy. He's not really, like, outside of Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, he's not really in things that I particularly enjoy. And yet I've watched them all multiple times just because he's in them and I love him. And he's just... like, he's not even a special interest in, like, him as a person, really. Like, I don't know his birthday or where he's from or where he lives or if he's married, you know, like, it's just something about, I really have a special interest in just watching him in things. I just like him. Yeah. So I'm going to end this there with Philip Glenister. And, yeah, I'd love to know if you've got any special interests that you don't want. If you've got any really weird, horrible, bizarre ones, like, spill all your secrets. I'm spilling mine here. I've just spent like 5 minutes talking about cannibalism. I think you can tell me about your weird little thing. Alright? If you wanted to like and subscribe, I do post twice. If you wanted to like and subscribe, I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays at 4:30 PM UK time. I remember to post. I just don't necessarily remember what to say about it. All my links will be down below if you want to follow me on TikTok, where the cool kids are, or Instagram, where the rest of the old people are remaining. That's where I am most of the time. My TikTok can be quite funny at times though. But whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again in a couple of days.